Welcome to the final webinar of Ready4Heat, from plans to practice building local heat resilience. This is our final webinar for the project, and I warmly welcome all speakers, all panelists, and most of all participants. This webinar brings together local and interregional actors and municipalities across Central, Eastern, and fortunately also Northern Europe, to share how they address heat stress. So within the Ready4Heat project, which is co-financed by the Interreg Central Europe program, municipalities across Europe have been refining practical approaches to anticipate, communicate, and adapt to extreme heat through a locally tailored heat health action plan and short, midterm, and long-term measures based on, and that's very important, a heat stress analysis, stakeholder workshops, advanced trainings, heat warning systems, and also implementing pilot actions, investing in nature-based solutions, heat action networks, and the sustainable solar-powered cooling solution. I also warmly welcome Christoph Ebermann, who's the head of project unit at the Interreg Central Europe program. And also very warmly welcome Tijn de Vogt from City of Arnhem, who's the project coordinator of CoolCities, which is an Interreg North Sea project in its, I think, second year, if I remember well, helping cities to reduce heat stress by creating cool and comfortable outdoor spots and routes. Both projects build on collaborative approaches, from improving communication channels and community awareness to investing green cooling solution and link health, social, and environmental services. And now we wonder, what are your local actions? What local actions exist in your municipality against extreme heat? You can answer this question throughout the entire webinar. Here's a Slido link, and you can scan it or you can go to Slido directly and answer these questions for the next 1.5 hours. And we will be happy to see how it correlates with our work. Next, I'm going to give the word to Katja Karba, who's the project coordinator of Ready4Heat, to welcome everyone from the development agency of Synergia in Slovenia. Katja?
Yes, hello, everyone. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to today's webinar. My name is Katja, I already said, and I'm speaking on behalf of the lead partner of the Ready4Heat project. It is a real pleasure to welcome you all, colleagues from municipalities, health and social services, planners, researchers, NGOs, and also hopefully some partner projects from across Europe. We are here today for one simple reason. Heat is no longer a future risk. It is already affecting everyday life in our cities. So across Central Europe, summers are getting hotter and hotter. Heat waves are becoming more frequent, also lasting longer and reaching high temperatures. This is not only a climate issue, it is public health issues as well, a social and local governance issue, and the municipalities are on the front line. They are the first to feel the pressure and also the first that citizens turn to for answers. What we have learned through Ready4Heat project is that extreme heat does not affect everyone equally. So older people, young children, people with chronic illnesses, outdoor workers, and socially isolated residents are the most exposed. It affects care facilities, kindergartens, schools, public spaces, and workplaces. And it puts real pressure on local services during heat waves. So for a long time, heat was treated mainly as an environmental topic. But today, cities are recognized that heat resilience is also about protecting people. It is about health, safety, and quality of life. And it requires action at the local level where people actually live. And this is exactly where Ready4Heat comes in. So within the project, municipalities, our project municipalities, Weiz from Austria, Worms from Germany, Hajdú-Búšehr from Hungary, and Maribor from Slovenia worked together to move from plans to practice. Many cities already had strategies or heat action plans on paper. The challenge was implementation. For instance, how do we turn plans into concrete measures? How do we coordinate departments? How do we reach vulnerable groups? And how do we act with limited time and resources? Ready4Heat tested these different answers to these questions through real pilot actions. And some cities focus on nature-based solutions like shaded green islands, pergolas, as cooler outdoor spaces in kindergartens. These are simple measures, but they make an immediate difference for daily comfort and usability of public space. Other cities focus on protecting indoor spaces used by vulnerable groups, for example, through renewable powered cooling in care facilities. This showed that health protection and climate goals can go hand in hand without increasing emissions or energy costs. And one of our pilot cities, Worms from Germany, focused on coordination and people by building local heat protection networks. This network connects municipality with, for instance, health services, kindergartens, NGOs, and volunteers, so that heat action plans actually really work during heat wave. Across all pilots, one lesson stands out, and this is that heat resilience works best when it's local, practical, or concrete, actually, and shared. It is not about one big investment or one perfect solution. It is about many, many small, well-coordinated actions, about trust and discussion between departments, also about using existing local networks. The focus should be also on involving citizens and frontline workers early and not at the end. Today's webinar is designed exactly around this idea. We will hear how cities are engaging citizens during heat events, how schools, elderly care services, or NGOs, maybe even local media can become key partners, how small-scale green solutions and cooling measures can protect health, and how municipalities are scaling pilot actions into long-term policies. It is very important that we are here to share our real experiences and not only the perfect models, to present what worked, what was difficult, and what we would do differently next time. Heat resilience is built locally. This is what we learned, but the knowledge does not have to stay local. That's why we are gathering here. And when sharing experiences across cities, regions, and projects like Ready4Heat and CoolCities, we can react faster, avoid repeating mistakes, and support each other in facing a challenge that is common to all of us. I would like to thank all municipalities, partners, and stakeholders who contributed their time, expertise, and commitment to our project. And I would also like to thank all of you for joining us today and for your interest in building safer, healthier, and more resilient cities. With that, I wish you a nice and inspiring and practical discussion at the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Katja, for these nice words. For all participants who joined in the meantime, welcome. You will have the chance to ask questions in the chat, and after the panel discussions and the presentations, we will revisit your questions and we can have a short discussion. So please, if you have any questions, use the chat, put your questions there. We will have a look at it. And now we move on. Without money, there would have not been any project, of course. So we are very thankful for the co-financing of Interreg Central Europe. And with this, I invite Christoph Ebermann from the funding program, head of project unit, to give us some inspirational words.
Thank you, Eva, and good afternoon to everyone. It's my great pleasure to be here at today's Ready4Heat final webinar. The Interreg Central Europe program is a transnational cooperation program which is supporting cooperation projects across Central Europe in 9 countries and is financed and funded by the European Regional Development Fund. And in my short presentation today, I would like to enlighten you why we believe that cooperation is central for increasing the resilience to climate change. So if we take, next slide, please. If we go to this general principle that what we can see that in our cooperation projects, we are building solidarity, since these projects are connecting regions and people, and they allow to address shared challenges, like in this case, the challenges related to climate change, which, as we heard also from Katja, are very pressing ones. Our projects are delivering a change, which is really a concrete change at territorial level through tested innovative solutions in real life settings. Also this, we will hear today more about the pilot actions which have been implemented. And the projects are achieving synergies, enabling regions and cities to pool the resources and knowledges in order to increase the impact. So what we can see is that cooperation is central for taking forward the transformation of Europe and Central Europe and strengthening its cohesion. Next slide, please. So if we ask ourselves now, how does the Ready4Heat project fit into this bigger picture? So, well, Ready4Heat is one of 125 projects which are being funded currently by the Interreg Central Europe program, which are allowing more than 1,100 partners to cooperate, and they're being supported in their cooperation across borders in Central Europe with around 190 million euro from the European Regional Development Fund. So this is the larger picture. But then if we zoom into the topic of increasing the resilience to climate change, this is actually one of the 9 program-specific objectives in which we are supporting projects. And in the field of the climate change resilience, we are supporting 14 projects which are tackling the challenges and the problems from different angles and putting different foci. Some are looking more into the general aspects of climate change resilience and adaptation measures. Others are looking into climate-proof landscapes and how urban planning can react to it. Then again, other projects are taking it from the side, the resilience to weather extremes and how to forecast them, for example, and to have a look into heavy rainfall events, floods, etc. And in general, again, further projects are tackling risk awareness, prevention, and management. Well, if you see these topics, then they are of course interlinked, and many projects are actually tackling a lot of these projects. Some giving more weight to one topic, and others giving more weight to another topic. But that's exactly why we believe that there are a lot of synergies which can be created between these projects, but also with projects which go beyond our program area. So I'm very glad to hear and to see that today we will learn also about other projects which are dealing with the topic and with the experiences of additional municipalities and regions with the topic of climate change resilience. So the topic of climate change resilience is a topic which is a very important one, and it's a topic which will remain important, of course, also in the future. It will be even accentuated in its urgency. So when looking into how are we going to support cooperation in Central Europe in the future, let me give you a brief roadmap on what are our next steps in the year to come. Next slide, please. So since January 26, we have started our last wave of projects, 25 projects, which are specifically looking into peripheral and lagging areas. In February, in not less than 2 weeks from now, we will actually already start the programming exercise of our future Interreg Central Europe 2834 program with the first meeting of our member states. In May, there will be the selection being done for our new capitalization projects, which are our operations of strategic importance, which are capitalizing the lessons learned from our ongoing projects. And then one important point, which can also be very interesting, I believe, for everyone, is that we will start as of this summer already our partner involvement measures in order to shape the new program. And for this, we need also your inputs in order to see which are the topics of importance where you would see the need for having cooperation also in the upcoming 2834 Interreg Central Europe program. So with this very brief intro, we can move to the last slide. With this very brief intro, I just wanted to create some interest in the Interreg Central Europe program, of course, but also on the importance which we see of having cooperation, because by cooperating, we can increase resilience and bring our territories forward. If you want to learn more, please visit our website. You find the contact details and on this slide, or follow us in social media, where also the other projects which we are supporting are being displayed. And with this, I'm very much looking forward to the discussions of this webinar, to the exchanges, and to all the lessons learned which we will gather today here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christoph. You heard him. The programming for the next financing period starts, and it's very fortunate that the programming bases on the needs or the territorial needs. I think this is very important. So please use this opportunity and let the team know what the municipalities' needs are, especially when it comes to heat stress in municipalities. Well, heat stress is what we have been discussing. For those who just joined us, the question you saw on the slide what is for everyone. You can use the chat, but you can also use the Slido to answer this question. We will see at the end what results we have. We will continue with a panel discussion with all the municipalities who are around the table here. We are, just for your information, we are invites. We just finished our last partner meeting, so we are sitting around this table and hoping to also be able to share really good experiences. This project, Ready4Heat, was a very nice experience for everyone. We are very sorry that it's over. It was not only good cooperation, the lessons learned, the meetings, the outcomes. It was all mutually helpful for all municipalities and all supporting organizations that you can see here on the slide. Just moderating over to the panel discussion, a short reminder, if you followed the road of Ready4Heat, maybe you participated in our previous webinar where we talked about our heat and health action plans. That was one of the basic documents for all municipalities to kick off the actual measures that have been implemented. And one of these important steps was steering committees that were realized, and they are ongoing in the municipalities, in all 4 municipalities. We're talking about Heidelberg in Hungary, Weiz in Austria, Worms in Germany, and Maribor in Slovenia. These committees are helping to coordinate among short, mid, and long-term measures. And one of these measures, we could say, are also related to the pilot actions that the partners will also talk about today. But let's get to the lessons learned. And of course, when we design something, it's always nice to dream and hard to fight through the realities of the municipalities, and the implementation can be a challenge. So what actually, and this question is of course for everyone, what was the biggest challenge in reaching citizens during the extreme heat? And I'm asking the partners here across the table. Maybe we can start with Hungary, and Bea Lugosi will answer. They work together. They're from the Reflex Association. They work together with the city to throughout this project. So what was the biggest challenge in reaching citizens during extreme heat? Bea.
Right now?
I think, yes.
No, not yet. Okay, thanks. Thank you for your question. So maybe we had, let's say, some challenges during the project, but basically worked very well with all the stakeholders and target groups. And I think that one of the challenges that we met in Heidelberg is to, let's say, reach out the older people living alone. They were part of the vulnerable groups, target group of, let's say, the elderly group. And yes, this is something that we have to solve yet. We tried to reach them out, but we have to work on still have a better way.
Yeah, it's difficult to reach out to older people living alone. That's right. Let's continue with Weiz, Austria. What was your biggest challenge reaching citizens?
So for us in Weiz, one of the biggest challenges was right in the beginning to convince people and raise awareness that heat can actually become dangerous for your health. And also, even if it doesn't impact you directly, it might impact someone you know or a relative of yours. And so for us, a challenge was to raise this awareness that heat actually has an impact on your health, and especially in those vulnerable groups that were the focus of our project.
Thank you, Dominic. Fritz, you want to add something, or?
Just one sentence from our point of view. The biggest challenge was it was hard that the most vulnerable groups are most difficult to reach.
Thank you. Let's see what Marcos from Worms. Marco from Worms. Okay, Marco, I'm looking at Marco.
Yes.
What was your biggest challenge?
So of course I can second this, that there is an intersectional vulnerability, and that's a big issue to actually reach the people. But maybe to also highlight something else, I think actually also within our administrations and within the professionals that are there, it's really a challenge to get a space and to get through. And then there are people that are easy to reach, low-hanging fruits. And I think the hardest thing is to not engage too much with the people that's fun with to engage, but to actually then also to talk to everyone else, to needs some good like arguments, and who is maybe not always directly friendly. So I think that's actually the human factor that's quite a challenge.
Thank you, Marco. Let's see what the experience Gordana from Maribor had.
Hello. Our experience was it was very difficult to reach outdoor workers, so we started with a company owned by the municipality, a communal company, and then also, as said before, by Heidelbergsmann, that it is also difficult to reach people who are living alone at home. So we used associations of pensioners. There are volunteers who are visiting those people at home. So we reached somehow also those people.
Thank you very much. Yeah, difficult to reach vulnerable people in general, I think, and you need to take care of what you do with it. Now the next question goes to Markus, and Bear, Hungary and Germany. During your last heat event, what was the single most effective way to reach the vulnerable groups?
I can go first. So I think the boring answer is that there is no single way where you reach them in such a scattered attention span, and everyone is using different media channels. I think the trick is that we have to actually try to spread it. And also, don't think that people read newspapers still. So I think it's getting away from that. So I think what was really effective for us is that we have these connections to senior citizen homes, to people that know that they can reach out to us, but that's mainly multipliers. So they know it, and I think they need to be the effective people during a heat wave, while actually people like us who work on the strategic framework can put their feet into the water and go swimming. While the people on the ground are the ones that need to be effective. So I think that like to be engaged with them is an effective way to be impactful during a heat wave.
Thank you. Bear, what was it like in Hungary?
Hey, thanks again. We think that basically this heat wave information works well in Hungary because based on reports from network services, the media informs residents and inhabitants properly. But during this heat waves, also the municipality sends let's say direct message or direct alerts to its own institutions, and which is we think it's a very effective or efficient way to reaching out vulnerable groups. And what we saw is that, and what is one of the positive aspects, let's say, of this project, that the stakeholders who was involved in this process, they became, let's say, more aware in this field, and also participate more actively in raising awareness and informing the people who are working with them. So it was a very good issue for us.
Thank you. What about, I don't know, Dominic was kicked out somehow, or are you back? So Dominic was kicked out. We are sitting in rights, and unfortunately, he needs to re-enter. But I can still go on with the question to maybe Gordana Konesanic from Maribor. We heard about the importance of local network. Which local network made the biggest difference in Maribor and why?
Since we reached out to the associations of pensioners, we found out that there is a network of those volunteers who are helping people who live isolated at homes, those invisible people who perhaps don't have family, and they help them with shopping or other issues. So we printed leaflets and brochures pointing out why this population is a vulnerable group, and what are the health measures, how to protect ourselves. So I think this was the most effective way in such a time.
Thank you, Gordana. Now, through everyone, maybe, cross-sector cooperation makes a lot of difference and made a lot of difference also in Ready4Heat. How does it work in practice? Where did your coordination break down? Where was it important that you were part of the story? Can you just give one rule based on your experience that you would set for any new partnership? And just please keep it short. And maybe I go around the table again. Let's go, Marco. Would you like to start?
Sure. I think I can shortly go to a workshop we had with our emergency services and people from senior citizen homes and care facilities. And I think what came up really there, what I would generalize, is that it needs a lot of care for the language to keep all stakeholder groups on board. And languages between professions can be very, very different. And we also don't know all of them. So I think instead of looking too much at formalization and on commitments, it's really important to have a lot of care for these languages and relationships, because the people as persons need to stay engaged, not the organizations that are behind them.
Thank you, Marco. Dominic is back. Maybe he's next. So what would be the one single rule you'd set for a new partnership?
Yeah, I would say also for us, personal contact was really important. And also to define your goals together from the start. So what are you looking to get out of the cooperation? What are they looking to get out of this cooperation? And then also follow up of them, so that it always is clear what next steps are and how the cooperation will move forward.
Yes, we are in, again, as we are in the invites, and we also attended the final event of Whites, where we heard about the importance of not to underestimate the workload for keeping up the network. I think it's also a good lesson that we can take away. Now to the last questions of this panel discussion. And again, dear participants, please use the chat to ask your questions. We will come back to it at the end of the webinar. Fritz, which action do you think changed day-to-day business at the municipalities? What was your experience?
From my point of view, it was the involvement of all departments of the city and many relevant stakeholders in Weiz that guaranteed that the heat prevention actions will be taken into account in future urban planning actions as well. So if that wouldn't have been if that wouldn't have taken place, I think that wouldn't have worked out. So the involvement of all the partners from the beginning was very relevant from my point of view.
Thank you. And what was your experience in Hungary? Well,
Yes, thank you. We saw in Heidelberg that obviously the activities had to be coordinated in several levels. And at the beginning of the project, we had to set up kind of steering group, steering group, which regularly discussed the necessary steps. And in this way, many of the departments of the municipality had the chance to sitting around the same table. And we saw that thanks to this project, that this was a very useful model and working model. That it is, we think it is good to keep for other future activities or projects to bring closer the different municipality departments business inside the different.
Thank you. So not only coordination, but also cooperation within the municipalities, different departments. And I assume that the heat health action plan, so the document itself, was a really good pillar to work on, that they could see there's something that is going to happen, and we have a word in this. If you joined us in the meantime, you are at the Ready4Heat final webinar, and we have a wonderful guest from the city of Arnhem in the Netherlands, Tijn de Vogt, who is the coordinator of the CoolCities project, which is an ongoing project, Interreg North Sea, co-financed also by the European Union. This project focuses on reducing heat stress by creating cool and comfortable outdoor spots and routes. And Tijn is here to tell us more about it. And we encourage you that while Ready4Heat now closes, to follow their results, because we find it very interesting and we will follow it as well. Tijn, the word is yours.
Yes, thank you, Eva. My name is Tijn de Vogt, indeed, and I work at the municipality of Arnhem, like Eva said. And I assume I have the same role as Katja has, because I'm the lead partner of the Interreg North Sea region CoolCities project. I will tell you something about the project, what our focus is, and also why, for example, we also have this special focus to the vulnerable groups for heat stress. So let's jump right into it. Can you go to the next sheet and another next sheet, please? Yeah. Because before I tell you what we do, I will tell you who we are. As you can see on the slide, we are a partnership, just like Ready4Heat is. And we co-funded by the North Sea region, and we contain of 12 partners. You can see at the top municipality of Arnhem, that's where I work. We are the lead partner of this project. We have the city of Gothenburg. The University of Stavanger actually recently joined us last October officially. We have Zeebouw and the Haven City Universiteit in Hamburg, city of Göttingen, city of Sint-Niklaas in Belgium, Ville de Saint-Omer and Capsau, who are located in France, in Saint-Omer, the city of Middelburg, city of Rotterdam, and the University of Applied Science of Amsterdam, and they are actually big involved in our methodology and theoretical framework kind of things in the project. So that's who we are. And if you can go to the next slide, let me tell. Yeah. So that was who we are. But what we do. These are the challenges. I know a lot of this is already addressed in this webinar, and I think you all know all of the challenges that we face. But before I go address these challenges, I would want to address a bit of the focus that we do, because the focus of the project is that we, well, actually we have a simple idea, I might say. So in a warmer climate, like we are now, we need more than individual cooling measures. What we need is connected systems that help people move safely through the city, even during these extreme heat events that we are now facing. So when you want to go to your home, to the school, to the groceries, to the pharmacy, to the doctors or whatever. So we want to connect those places cool. So instead of thinking only in terms of tree here, shading there, or whatever, we're building an approach that looks like that looks at the entire urban fabric. So how do people travel? Which areas are stressful in the summer? And where can we create a network of comfort that supports daily life, especially for those who are most at risk? But why is this focus? You can see that's a bit on the slide. Most of you also will recognize that the cities warm up much more faster than the rural areas. The heat waves are longer. There are no more rare events. They're part of our new normal, and temperatures stay well at night, very high, and that becomes a real threat or a problem, or real health problem, particularly for the vulnerable residents. But it's not just only health. Whole cities are also less pleasant to live in. The productivity drops. Energy use for cooling increases. So think about the sustainability challenges that we also face in there. So it's not just only environmental, and I heard Katja also said it. It's also a social and economic problem. And that's why we believe that cities, our cities in the North Sea region, also in the Central Europe, must plan for the heat in the same structured way we also plan, for example, mobility or housing or sustainability or biodiversity or whatever. So if you can go to the next slide, how we want to address these challenges I just mentioned and how to address the focus that I just also mentioned. We wanted, Eva meant it as well, we want to do that via the innovative idea of a cool network. But what is a cool network? When we talk about a cool network, we mean two things working together. So the first thing is a cool spot, places where you can escape the heat, such as parks, shaded squares, waters, etc. Just where you can cover yourself from the sun, from the heat. And the second one is cool routes. So paths that allow people to walk or cycle in comfort. And this can be some tree-lined streets or routes, or where we add some shading structures or light reflecting materials or whatever. But the idea is that many cities already have this. Many cities already have these kind of routes or paths or spots. But the challenge is to connect them into functional, accessible networks that actually supports people during these heat waves. So that's what a cool network is. And if you can go to the next slide, I would like to address a bit how we are doing it in the project. It's actually very clear. It's a very clear process. We start with this local heat analysis. So not just where it gets hot, but really who lives here. And how do they move? How do they experience the city? Where are they going? Where are they coming from? Where are they going? Once we have this analysis, that's what the University of Applied Science Amsterdam is doing, like I said before, we're going to test it in the cities that are also our partners, like the city of Gothenburg, Middelburg, Rotterdam, the ones that I said in the first slide. These pilots will help us understand what works, what residents appreciate, for example, but also what is feasible for cities to maintain. So what are the costs of it, and how can we maintain it, the maintenance and the implementation, etc. So once those pilots are finished, ready, all that we have learned, all this knowledge will feed into the action plans and a combined roadmap that other cities like Maribor, for example, or Worms can use to implement a cool network for their own. So it says at the bottom of the sheet, it is saying what a cool network is. It includes practical guidance, examples, estimated costs, opportunities to link cooling with other policy areas such as mobility, health, greening, sustainability, economics, you name it. Maybe if you can go to the next sheet, I think it's a more in-depth sheet. Yeah, so actually this is the same, but the reason why I put it in here is because I want to explain that our result is a long-term vision for the city, supported by maps and strategies and methodologies that show where cool networks already exist and where they should be expanded. So it's a structured, repeatable, reproducible method that other cities can also adopt. Yes, so that's why I put it in the thing, in the slide. Could you maybe go to the next one? So I don't think in this project I really have to show this sheet, but it's part of my story, so I'm sorry. But to create good networks, we really must understand the people who need them the most. So here I have on this sheet, I have a list of who need them the most. And this is also the vulnerable groups where we have this, well, maybe special focus on. So older adults, for example, or young children, pregnant women. See, there are people with chronic illnesses, residents who live in isolations, like the city of Worms also mentioned. And all of them experiences heat very differently from the other average healthy adult. So for these groups, a city that is just a few degrees too warm can already be dangerous. It can already suffer from deaths or something. So that's why our network not focus only on the physical environment, but also on providing safe access to public space during those extreme heat events. So maybe if you could go to the next slide, then I think I'm almost done. But what could actually cool a city? What could actually cool down a city? Well, here are some possible measures for a cooling network. And one of the interesting things that we have learned is how different measures perform in real conditions. So you have trees that are incredibly effective. Large mature trees can reduce perceived temperatures dramatically, like this. You see the one on the left. Rows of trees or pergolas create longer shaded corridors, and shading cloth, you see it at the bottom, can be surprisingly effective, especially in dense areas where trees cannot grow, such like the kindergarten playground. So cooling, what I mean with this is that cooling is not a single intervention. It's a mix of smart spatial planning. It's like it's a mix. Just like the energy transition, you need some PV panels, you need storage, you need hydrogen or whatever. There are a lot of interventions that you need to combine into a cool network. That's a bit how we do it, and also look at the nature-based solutions, of course, the light-weighted structures that you can see here on the slide that can together create much more comfortable environment for during these heat events. And if you can go to the next slide, it's already the last one. Like Eva said as well, the project here, Ready4Heat, is finished. But don't be too sad, but because Eva said as well, you can follow us. And we also have something like a follower city. And what a follower city is that you can really get engaged into the project. Our partner cities will host in their language. So that's maybe a bit of a problem, but in their language, host national sessions where they really get dive deeper into these cool network plans and how they are going to implement their plan and what data they are using, etc. So if you please contact me here on the sheet. You can see my email, my phone, LinkedIn. You can do whatever. I'm available on every platform. And yeah, we can see what is. But keep in mind that it's French, German, Swedish, Norwegian, and Dutch. So yeah, that's then up to you. If you speak one of those languages, maybe, but it's also a bit of contextual idea, of course. So So yeah, if you are interested, please let me know. And then with that said, thank you very much. I believe questions you can put in the chat. I will take a look at it. And yeah, again, thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you, Thijn. Thank you very much. Yes, fortunately, there are smart solutions nowadays to translate important documents as well and important information. But please don't be shy and contact Thijn for more on that. And if you think your question and the answer for your question could be interesting for other participants as well, please use the chat. And Thijn will have a look at it and answer. From the north of Europe, we come back to Central and Central Eastern Europe and to the Ready4Heat results and outputs. There have been some local challenges and a lot of local actions and local solutions as well. And we are going to talk about this now very shortly in the form of short pitches from city to city, from municipality to municipality. We will have a closer look of what has been implemented. And here again, don't be shy, use the chat for asking questions. I give the word now to Erzsébet Kovács from the city of Hajdúbeszörmény, who will talk about their experiences and their implemented actions.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Erzsébet Kovács. I'm from Hungary, and I'm going to show you the project of Hajdúbeszörmény from plans to practice. Hajdúbeszörmény is a city with 29,000 inhabitants located on the Great Hungarian Plain in the east of Hungary. The future trends, climate models indicate that the average temperature in this area will rise more than the national average because it's a plain, as I said. The number of heat wave days is expected to increase by up to 90% in some areas of the county. This is a big challenge for the residents, as heat waves and tropical nights are serious health risk, and they expect support from the local government. The vulnerable groups are young children, pregnant women, the elderly, chronically ill people, and outdoor workers. The main challenges: our city has little green spaces, many hot areas, high building density, especially in the city center, which causes heat stress. The pilot objective, the first one, we looked for a solution that reduces heat stress in public spaces with nature-based solution. So we installed green shading islands in different parts of the city. The second goal, to help people get ready for heat waves. Turning plans into action. First of all, we had to identify hotspots in the city. Finally, we installed 47 green islands in 23 locations in public spaces, for example, bus stops and main square, and institutional yards such as kindergarten or nursing home. Each island consists of a pergola, benches, trees, and perennial plants. We chose this solution because green blocks provide cooling shade and improve the local microclimate and increase urban biodiversity. We involve stakeholders in the site selection process through workshops to ensure the adequate places of the islands. Municipal departments, stakeholders, citizens, and NGOs had to cooperate, had to work together to identify hotspots and to organize the implementation and the maintenance. The soft part of Ready4Heat project, there was an intensive awareness raising campaign, which was also supported by the soft part of Ready4Heat project. We continuously inform the population about the dangers of heat waves and the possibilities for protection. An application was created to notify residents about heat alerts and what to do. In the picture, you can see an alert from the application. We also used other platforms for
heat alerts, for example, a city website, official Facebook site, and local newspaper. The results: the Green Islands reduced heat stress. Around the Green Islands had lower surface temperature peaks, increased the number of cool places in the city, improve air quality, inhabitants' use of public spaces more often, and prepare more carefully for the heat waves. Lessons learned: nature-based shading is cost-effective and feasible for municipalities. Success depends on early and continuous stakeholder involvement. This increased the acceptance and care for Green Islands, so it's important. Long-term maintenance determines long-term impact. You have to take care of the islands, for example, watering, plant care, and replenishment. And building a heat resilience future. The Green Islands as a solution can be suitable for both cities and smaller settlements. It is useful to include nature-based solution in your strategies and action plans. It will be necessary to ensure adequate funding for the measures. You can use EU or national funds. And our goal is to create similar solutions in the future because this pilot project was useful and effective. Thank you for attention.
Thank you very much. And we move on to Slovenia, and I kindly ask Gordana Kolesaric to share the experiences of Maribor.
Thank you. Just to give you a introduction to Maribor, it's the second largest town in Slovenia, but it's not a very big city. It has 110,000 inhabitants. It's situated in a warm zone, and our meteorologists have made significant climate change observations. Slovenia is one of the member states where the warming is faster than in others due to the Mediterranean. As we know, the days, hot days will double, and that we have also already tropical nights, and they will double as well. Next slide, please. In Maribor, the population is middle-aged. We have the number of older inhabitants is increasing, so the vulnerable groups of elderly people is increasing. In the strategy and heat action plan, we have marked all the vulnerable infrastructure, the schools, the elderly homes, the hospitals, healthcare centers, and some of them are, of course, also in heat islands. So in this heat map, which was elaborated by the Climate Alliance from Frankfurt, there are the areas where we can find this infrastructure, and also we can see that, for example, urban forests, the river Drava, or parks have really a big impact on cooling the city. Next slide, please. The pilot solution in Maribor was to install a vegetated pergola. You can see in this first photo how the kindergarten teachers tried to cool the playground. So we installed there the pergola with the seedlings of grapevine and kiwi. And last year already the children had a lot of fun by doing the first grape harvest and their juice production. For preparing and implementing the heat action plan in Maribor, we organized a municipal steering committee who helped us identifying stakeholders, all those associations where we reached out the vulnerable groups. And we organized a lot of workshops where we showed why is one group vulnerable and what are the health care what are those what is this what each person can do to I mean not to be in such risk. So we printed leaflets and brochures and we took them to healthcare centers, also to shopping malls, to all the associations, kindergarten, schools. Next slide, please. The lessons we learned is especially good. We have to improve the communication among the departments, the experts at the city level. We made a list of resilient tree species which have to be planted in the future, and also recommendations about planting those trees where and to the construction companies how to plant them, because we have seen that a lot of trees have died in the last 10 years. We have made this inventory of trees planted in the last 10 years, so we are also monitoring them now. And we introduced the heat warning system for vulnerable groups. A very simple registration was introduced, and the people got, those who registered got a warning SMS when the heat wave was forecasted. And our lessons learned were that when we are introducing or when we are implementing a pilot project like this one, we have to involve the people where we are installing it at really a planning phase at the beginning, where to install it, how to install it, and to involve as well the expert from all those departments in the municipality. Next slide, please. So last year we have adopted a new municipal spatial plan with new green corridors for connecting city districts. The departments and political leaders are paying now more attention to greening. We are also planning new nature-based solutions in overheated areas. We have organized a municipal group where people are meeting once a month, and there are experts from different departments and also from our maintenance company for the green infrastructure, where we discuss the problems and find solutions also for budgeting. So we have increased last year already the budget, municipal budget for greening, for replacing the dead trees and planting new ones. And also we started cooperation with companies for fundraising. For example, the company Coca-Cola will give us the funding for greening one corridor. Thank you.
Thank you as well. I guess the 5 minutes would not be enough for Maribor in general, but yeah, let's move to the neighboring country where we are right now and see what good lessons Weiz has for us.
Okay, thank you, Eva. Yeah, let's start with the first slide, please. So Weiz is a small city with 12,000 inhabitants located in Styria near Graz. And also for us, heat stress is increasing and especially noticeable in the last years. So in the last years, there has been more attention on the heat issue than before, also thanks to Ready4Heat. And also for us, the future in terms of heat impact also says that we have to expect more summer days and especially more heat days where the temperatures will rise. Our local heat analysis from the project Ready4Heat showed us that especially in the inner city, where building density is high, our heat hotspots are the most, or these areas are most affected by the heat. And also, as before also mentioned, that particular the vulnerable groups are at risk of the heat stress. Another thing we also did is we had a look at our demographic, especially the age of our population, and then clustered the population age with our heat affected areas. And so for us, invites the concentration of elderly people, especially in care facilities and also in in flats and living spaces is the highest. And so for our pilot action, we decided that we wanted to focus on the vulnerable groups, the vulnerable group of the elderly people. Please, next slide. Thank you. So we partnered with a local senior citizen center, and our goal was to install a solar-assisted cooling unit for the building. And we decided that we wanted to start with the main dining room. On the one hand, because we had budgetary restrictions, but on the other hand, because also in stakeholder workshops, we were often told that constant cold temperature, some of elderly people do not like constant cold temperature. And also that was the reason that we said, okay, the idea is we start with one room. So this could be a safe space in summer to cool down. And also the use of renewable energy was important to us because it also links to our sustainability goals and also to our long-term climate adaptation goals. So the results and the lessons learned, for the right use case, renewable powered cooling is feasible and also affordable. Also targeting socially important spaces first can maximize the impact. So if you have to actively cool because there is no other possibility for those areas and spaces, it is good to start with the most vulnerable, in this case, elderly people who need care. And also the data-driven selection helped us a lot because now we know the areas in our city where in the future we as a city or also other building owners will have to address the heat issue in the future. And then also that the use of renewable energy also helps to strengthen our long-term resilience and our overall climate goals. So for us, scaling at next steps, we want to expand this solar-assisted cooling solution to other sensitive buildings where possible and where needed. As said before, to prioritize those buildings and facilities that serve the vulnerable groups most. And also to integrate those suggestions, not only the technical solutions, but also the other solutions that were used in the Ready4Heat project in our long-term adaptation plans, and to also include community-based measures in the future to overall strengthen also our cross-municipal and cross-regional learnings regarding heat in the future.
Thank you very much, Dominic. And last but not least, let's see how Marco explores and explains for us the case of worms.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm happy to give you an intro to what we did in Worms, and you can already go to the next slide. What you see there is our network that we built in this time. So actually, we didn't focus on the technical infrastructure, but on coordinating a network that was there to reach vulnerable groups and to bring them together. And what you see is that obviously our network members were in the center of this whole thing. And we tried to, as climate adaptation officers, we were the network management of this, while we formed subgroups by interest. So for outside working people, for kindergartens, for senior citizens. And we formalized all of this via Carta, and people then coming together were actually also invited to bring a self-assessment form, which was giving some further information. And I can give you now more infos about how this actually worked for us. So let's go to the next. What you see here is, I'm sorry, in German, our 5 main reasons for joining the Heat Action Network. It was to find exchange partners, to get to know good practice, to together find ideas and actually practice them, and to use chances to get grants and to make all of this engagement visible, obviously, for the city society. And I think mainly all our activities were then really trying to put that into practice. So with cross-sectoral working groups and really developing benefits for each stakeholder group. And obviously, since this was a multiplier focus, mainly this was also about knowledge, about competence, and about actually grants and money for them. But we complemented this with communication material and workshop material that can be used by them, and a summer campaign, which was then a more general audience to target. You can also find this material online, like this, for instance. This was the backside of our material, which was basically a very short self-assessment, but we also have a long self-assessment that you can look it up at hitze-worms.de. And take a look there, and also, of course, just use it for your purposes. The right thing is a flip chart. It's one of the things that we try to have the organizations doing, that they can facilitate workshops with their own teams, with their small sub-teams that are working in a location. Next slide. Lastly, also that for nonverbal communication, especially senior citizen homes and kindergartens, the idea was to give people really some hands-on thing that they can use to practice heat adaptation locally. I think we don't have that many practice stories yet from these kindergartens, but I think it was one of the tools that at least was taken a lot, and you can really find in a lot of rooms and WORMs where the social welfare organizations are working. Next slide. So I think to get some key takeaways, we also try to work on this with, for instance, in a transdisciplinary workshop, which you find on the left, with some results on how stakeholder engagement can work. And I think more on that, if you're interested, you can in general find in our policy recommendations that were published by Ready4Heat, and also by a report that we published as WORMs on our what happened now. So you can find more resources there. But to wrap it up, I think that I believe that focusing on multipliers is actually far more realistic in reaching the most vulnerable groups, instead of trying to reach them yourself. That if you work with multipliers, then it's important to form some kind of trust relationship, which builds on continuity, but also on visible recognition, like the certificates and press coverage. And for us, it was really an important role that we had this transnational expansion thing, because it it also gives importance to what's happening in the city level. If you can say, well, we are embedded in this project, which is funded by EU money, but also which is complemented by the knowledge of all the other partners. Obviously, there are some problems, like maintaining the momentum. I think with summer issues, that's always the case, at least as long as it's still cold in winters. And then I think to create benefits for some hard to get groups like mobile care facilities, it's a very hard challenge that we also only did start to tackle, and there's really more work needed on that. Next slide. So I think with now more than 36 signatories and I think by now far more than 200 participants in these multiplier workshops, we have a very successful growth of the network and also really people that were engaging. So I think that such a heat network can be a governance structure to maintain momentum in a city. So I hope it is something that you might think about transferring to your own models. And lastly, I think there is a last slide. Yes, so I think there are 4 things really important if you want to try to use this. I think you need some institutional anchoring. So you need to have it integrated in your municipal adaptation plan, where there is then a dedicated funding line that doesn't have to be big. It's okay if there is only some small money to actually get speakers, to have some continuity and to get some refreshments after such things, that people have fun and want to come to you. And that you can function then with this continuity and anchoring as a knowledge broker for them, that they actually think you bring them informations and that you have relevant knowledge that they want to engage with you. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you, Marco, and thank you to all the other municipalities for sharing your lessons learned with us. Because we have just 10 more minutes, we're going to cut short a little bit the next panel and just jump into 2 questions before turning to your questions that you all put in the chats up to now. And I'm going to ask a short question, and we'll also ask for your reply also in a short way. First to Gordana and Marco, and Marcos maybe. How did you finance the pilots? I mean, of course, we know it's co-financed by the European Union and Interreg Central Europe. But what made the model realistic for you at the municipal level, and where did, if at all, citizen involvement improve outcomes? Maybe Gordana, if you want to start.
Yeah. Well, of course, it was this co-funding which helped us to start this project. And we are involved. We have involved departments. So the maintenance department, they helped with the maintenance. We involved the staff at the kindergarten to take care of the plants. The gardeners showed them how to cut them down. And what was the second question about?
If citizen involvement improved.
Yeah, of course, because we have asked the teachers and the staff at the kindergartens how for them it would work the best, where to install the plants, and where is the playground where the children move a lot. So in this case it was the citizen involvement with the users at the kindergarten.
How about Worms?
So maybe to add to that, I mean, obviously a network is itself a participatory process. You need to get people on board, and they cannot be forced to attend. I mean, obviously as city administration, we have some statutes which we can use, but in general, people have to be there voluntarily. And I think then the quality of such a network is shown by the people coming in. I think the lump sum funding is a real enabler for a truly participatory process, because obviously there are KPIs and there were the pilot solutions that we had, but it was really possible to then still adjust the funding and to what we use by what's happening. One concrete example, there was one funding line coming up by federal money, And as like what we then did was we offered a workshop and more information to our social welfare organizations to be able to go there and to able to apply for this. And this was also successful for some of them. And I think this is possible because we didn't have to write this exact budget, but we had a lump sum that we know we can use for what's actually the demand of our members that were generated in the process. So I think in this way, the funding program that we had in the Central Europe framework was really an enabler for this participatory practice.
Thank you very much to both of you. Because now we have very short time left, maybe I would skip the next panel questions if you don't mind, to give you all the opportunity to tell us in one sentence as a conclusion. So if you have a message, if you would have a message or one big lessons learned or an inspirational learning from this project that you would give to other municipalities and they could run with it and create more positive change, what would it be? And let me start with our host in Austria, Dominic.
Thank you, Eva. Yeah, I would say overall, the important thing is that you start. Even if you start with small steps, you should start, and you know your city best. You have insights in which measures will work, which measures the population will most likely agree on. But I think that the important thing is that you just start and really, get going and deal with the heat problem.
Thank you. Moving on, but still staying in Austria. Klimabündner Steiermark, Climate Alliance Steiermark. Ciao.
Yes, hello to everyone. Yeah, I would say that the people with lower income are the most vulnerable. So start helping them.
Very much on the point. Thank you very much. Maybe moving to the neighboring country, Hungary, and I think it's going to be Bea from Reflex answering also for Erzsébet and Heidelberg.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me, Eva? Maybe? Yes, thanks. So maybe in one sentence, always involve residents, local residents in this kind of decisions. And we think this is the only way to find right solutions for local needs.
Thank you. And again, crossing borders, moving on to Gordana in Maribor.
For us, cooperation and communication among the municipal departments was crucial to start the projects. And CoolCities improves the quality of life and public acceptance of climate actions.
Thank you very much. And then arriving back home, I mean, for us back home, Climate Alliance Europe office is also in Germany. What would Worm say? What would be this one sentence?
I think that in every city there are already practitioners on the ground and in every field that do really like front runner work and are very aware, and that framing it as climate adaptation can empower them to have more power within the organizations and to actually adapt their organizations.
Thank you very much, Marco. And because we still have 1 or 2 minutes, I would revisit 2 questions from the chat. From the very beginning, we had Floyd van der Veen, I hope I pronounced it well. Which attempts have been taken to consult single households Who's brave enough to answer this question? Single households. Were they addressed in your country, in your city?
If I may answer, well, one attempt was by media. We made a big media campaign, and it was in all, also in the national news, in the main national news, and then with the heat warning system also, people could know about the heat waves coming from this. And then our network of elderly people in the associations of pensioners, because there we have volunteers who visit them, and we have also organizations who care for people who are living home alone, and they had them, so they with the brochures and the leaflets about the advices for healthcare, we reached a lot of people. I'm sure we didn't reach all of them, but it was a good try, and I think we were very successful.
Thank you. It seems that mass media, it's very important to involve in the awareness raising campaign. If I see no hands from other partners, then another question from Cologne, from Ines Kungsken. Did you measure the effectiveness of the awareness raising campaign? Bea, maybe?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. Different.
I think you have to hold it close to your. No, we can hear you. Just have to use the mic closer to your. Yeah.
Yes, the last moment. Okay, so we had different qualitative and quantitative measurements, let's say, during the project for this question, especially we haven't, but what we saw was that during the festivals and outside events, it was really good to talk to local residents, because they actively participate, ask us, and we could talk about this topic with them. So I think this is a really good way to reach them, raising activity.
Yes, I think I didn't hear the last sentence very well, but I think maybe you can also find an answer for this in partly in the policy briefs, if you want to visit them. Thank you for your questions. One important notes also, if you're still with us, please have a look at the chat, because a lot of participants also shared interesting and important resources. One of this is the Heat Action Day, and thank you for the note on this. We also participated in the Heat Action Day in Germany. This Heat Action Day exists in several countries, and we really do encourage you to take part of it. Whatever result and whatever activity you're doing in your municipality. We are 1 minute past time, but we wouldn't let you go without saying goodbye. And this goodbye word comes from, again, Katja, to make a full circle. Thank you very much for being with us. And this is Katja Karba.
Yeah, okay. Just very briefly, I would just like to thank you very much to all speakers and participants for your informative and practical contributions. Also, thank you to all of you who proposed various ideas in the chat, like participating in Heat Action Day, or establishing so-called green team on the municipality level. If there is one message to take away from today, it is this: heat resilience starts with small and concrete actions at the local level. So what we heard today shows that municipalities do not need to wait for perfect conditions. Just cities can start now, also by improving coordination, using local networks, creating visible and cooling solutions, and also focusing on people who are most affected by heat. So across all sessions, a few common points stood out very clearly. Heat action work best when it's simple and locally owned. Then cross-department cooperation is very essential and needed. Also engaging stakeholders from the beginning. Then also continuous work on keeping the network live is also relevant. Also involvement of all departments and small pilots can lead to long-term change if they are anchored in local policies and strategies. So for those of you who would like to go deeper and take concrete next steps, all Ready4Heat results are publicly available. You can find detailed information about the project, pilot cities, and lessons learned on our project website that is also put in the chat. In particular, we encourage you to look at the policy briefs, which are written especially for municipal decision makers. They present the pilot solutions and provide clear, practical recommendations that can be transferred to other cities. You can find them under the menu Output Pilot Solutions. You can also find there our evaluation report. It is also about awareness raising campaign evaluation. So much more information could be found there. We also invite you to stay connected with us. Follow Ready4Heat on LinkedIn, where we regularly share updates, events, videos, and practical insights from municipalities across Europe. And finally, we encourage you not to see today as the end, but also as a starting point for you. Please use the ideas you heard today, adopt them to your local context, and continue the exchange with other cities and stakeholders. That's very important. And thank you once again for your participation and your interest. And we wish you a safe, healthy, and more resilient, heat-resilient cities. Thank you, and yes, goodbye from my side.